We've all heard an already great rap song with a feature on it that just smashes it out of the park and becomes the one that you think of when you think of that song.
It's about drive, it's about power, we stay hungry, we devour.
And I thought it would be cool to take some of my favorite examples of this and put them into a video to share with you guys. Now you may be thinking, hold on just a second, isn't this exactly the same as your rap songs saved by the features videos from years ago? No, while the concepts are somewhat similar, rap songs saved by the features is about songs where the feature was the only real redeeming quality of the song. When featured rappers steal the spotlight is about songs that were already good in the first place, but then the feature comes along and just completely runs the track, basically making it their own. With that being said, this is CDTV, and let's get into our first spotlight stealing feature.
This is me, Kendrick, and I wear pendant on my shoulder, soldier, like a lieutenant, and the coupe tenant got pulled over.
This song right here is a picture perfect example of exactly what I mean by this video's title. The game raps 3 whole verses here across the first 4 minutes of the song, and each of them are pretty damn good on their own right. Like, this would have still been good as a solo song. He was on fire here as he laid down solid bars about his place amongst the greats within West Coast hip hop, and kind of gave us a reflection of how he feels about all his albums throughout his career up to that point. But this featured 2011 era Kendrick Lamar, the between Section 80 and Good Kid Mad City Kendrick Lamar. And if you don't know what that means, it basically means that anyone that sent a song to him during this time essentially forfeited the rights to be the best part of it. Kendrick went so hard on this track that his verse ended up being too long, and the game had to sort of cut it down and use the first 8 bars of it for the hook, which is why the hook branches off so perfectly into Kendrick's verse. The instrumental slowly fades out for his verse, and it's completely carried by the strength and hunger in his voice and his flow.
I mean, I don't condone dick riding. I'm addicted to Westside, living in a city where the skinny niggas die and a semi-bullet fly, but it turned me to a lion, trying.
2011 to 2013 has to be pretty much my favorite era of Kendrick's music on every single song. He was rapping like his life would come to an end if he didn't prove himself as an incredible talent. Speaking of the game's Red album, we're not quite done with it yet either.
And that shit was expected like Jason whenever he name drops.
Fuck you, Tyler.
Jesus, motherfucking Teresa.
I promise, the game is pretty solid on the Red album overall, he just happened to have immaculate feature selection for it as well. Side shout out to Lil Wayne on the chorus of this track as well, that was a perfect choice. Tyler comes through with the verse here that is just so fun to listen to, and has so many quotable lines that only he could pull off so well. You have no clue how many times I randomly just say to myself,
A year ago, I was poor somewhat. Now my future's brighter than Christopher's new haircut.
and I can't help but love the fact that he sent a feature verse into the game with a line where he basically throws a little jab at him, saying it's really expected for him to throw out a bunch of name drops, which is what him and Tyler do all throughout this song. It's just a fun song, and that beat is so hard, it's the perfect backdrop for Tyler's raspy delivery. Just like with The City, the game helped put the spotlight on another rapidly rising California artist, and I respect that a lot. And once again, the next track is somewhat linked to this one, as I'm talking about
Got my middle fingers to the cameras, that's recording me from y'all to me. Brrr. Stop calling me unless you're ordering.
It is insane that Wayne is going on a pretty beefy feature run from 2020 onwards this late in his career. There's a few duds here and there, but for the most part, he's killing every track that he touches. And Hot Wind Blows from Tyler's latest album, Call Me If You Get Lost, is one of my favorite show-stealing performances from Wayne in this run. Now that I think about it, Wayne seems to go in with a great verse every single time he's featured on a Tyler track. You can just tell when you listen to their songs together that there's a lot of mutual respect there. Don't get me wrong, I think Tyler is excellent on this track with his continuation of Call Me If You Get Lost's travel themes, and DJ Drama talking about eating French vanilla ice cream on a yacht in Switzerland with his toes out has grown on me so much over time, as has every DJ Drama contribution on that album. But I just love the way that Wayne works with the title of the song and sort of uses it to fuel his constant wordplay within the verse, while also throwing in a couple travel references himself. He also picks up to a fairly quick pace at the end of the verse, and I appreciate me some fast boy rap. I'm not gonna say anything to link this song to the next one that I'm gonna talk about because there's no artists in common between them anymore.
I used to fuck strippers on that stop. Yeah, be falling off. Bitch, I invented this shit, they can't fuck with the cane. Shit just be popping off.
Freddie Gibbs, aka Freddie Kane, aka DJ Academic's #1 Twitter supporter, has killed a lot of recent features that I've heard from. And one of my favorites is right here on Wax Wax On by Injury Reserve. Richie with a T and Steppa J Groggs were awesome on here, of course, but Freddie, man, he just absolutely ripped through the beat. Starting off by continuing the flow and the rhyme scheme from Richie's chorus before bursting into a more faster paced flow with his weighty delivery hitting the beat perfectly. Brilliant stuff, and overall this made for one of my favourite tracks from Injury Reserve's self-titled LP. And of course, before we move on, rest in peace to Steppa J Groggs, who lost his life way too early last year. His contributions throughout that whole album were great. Here's some of the best ones on the screen right now that you should definitely check out if you haven't heard them already.
Remember that fuck nigga pulled up using his chrome, hit the back of my head and neck, I should've died, nigga.
Now, I'll always take the opportunity to mention more Griselda music in my videos, and I can't think of a more fitting one for this video's topic than this right here. This is not Conway's song, but he handles the bulk of it, and I would say it's pretty much the defining verse of his career so far. If you have not listened to Conway the Machine before, listen to this song ASAP, and you'll get the full story from the time he was shot in the face, which left him with Bell's palsy, and how that sort of affected his confidence in himself and his confidence in his rapping, all the way up to where he is now, where he's finally gained a lot of confidence in it and is starting to become a success. All of it despite that setback. It's an emotional highlight that really makes you respect his fortitude to continue through that and become such a highly regarded rapper already. Conway was so good, in fact, that he almost made Westside Gunn feel a little bit out of place on his own song when he comes in at the end mixing gun and drug talk with fashion, as he does so well, but I still like what Westside Gunn did with the song with his little outro part, so I still think it fits for this video. Shout out to your boy Tom on Twitter for recommending that I check this one out. Conway says towards the end of this verse that this is the realest shit he ever wrote, and he is absolutely right about that.
They call me a product of my environment. I tell them no, I'm a God producer. Defense good and them guards can shoot.
Speaking of career-defining moments, how about this one from Fivio Foreign on Kanye's Donda album? And this is on a track with really great verses from Carti and especially Kanye too. While we're on the subject of it, drop a like on this video right now to digitally sign my petition to bring back Playboi Carti's "Smoking Up" blunt line from this song, even though it's sort of in direct contradiction with what Kanye says on Jonah, which may be why he took it off. 110 seconds. That's how long Fivio goes for on a track that's 339 seconds long and has 2 other artists on it. That's impressive when you also consider that a good chunk of those seconds were dedicated to the chorus, not just the other verses. Now, of course, long doesn't automatically equal good when it comes to a rap verse, but Fivio completely slid over that beat after it switched up to have more of a drill drum beat for his part of the song. I love all those little moments where you think the song is gonna end and he just keeps going without losing any momentum. It is easily the best thing I've heard from him so far. But it's not the only time that a feature has stolen the spotlight on a Kanye song.
Now look at what you just saw. This is what you live for. I'm a motherfucking monster.
I had to finish this video off with an iconic verse that most people do consider to be a show stealer. Nicki's Monster verse is one of the most appreciated hip-hop features of the 2010s, and it's not hard to see why. First off, at the time that it dropped, Nicki didn't have a single studio album out, as she refers to on her verse. And sure, she had some big songs before this, but this felt like her biggest moment up to this point that showed what she could really do on a track with some of the greatest of all time to an even bigger audience. Alongside her idols, her varied flows and cadences shone through, as she took some risks by rapping in quite a unique way, but it definitely paid off.
And if I'm fake, I ain't know this cause my money ain't.
Let me get this straight. Wait, I'm the rookie, but my features and my shows 10 times your pay.
The way that she rapped on this one was just one of the things that made it stand out though. This verse probably has like 3 or 4 of her most memorable sequences of lines ever, just packed into it back to back. Pink wig, thick ass, give 'em whiplash. Kanye in particular was fire on this track too, but Nicki being the relative newcomer on this song is just yet another thing that makes it stand out even more as impressive, and it is most definitely a spotlight stealer. So guys, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this one, click right here to watch a video where I talk about features that didn't turn out so good. Much love to all my Patreon supporters, and an extra special shout out to Big Daddy Foe Fivio, David, I Am Region, iRunner, Jason Painter, CDTVProductions, and Archie99.